Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Medeco number TP F10-4T. This is a package of 100 steel top or driver pins, is what this is. And this video is just to serve as visual evidence of the item. Dimensionally, they're, the standard 135 thousandths diameter. Standard Medeco pin, and as a 4 top pin, it'll be 180 thousandths in length. I'll take my caliper out and see just exactly how accurate all of that is, or how accurate my caliper is. Yeah, the diameter of that, according to my caliper, is just 0.1. It's just heavy on 0.134. 134.5 kind of thing. The length, this ought to be 180 thousandths. Just perfect. Medeco's catalog states they have exacting tolerances or something to that nature, and that's certainly an example of that. Made of steel. Like they say that it's steel. Certainly ferrous-based. Okay. Now, so this is a top pin. This is a bag of 100 steel number 4 top pins. This is a pin that is used in their non-parity or their single-step system. Put that back in the bag, hopefully. Okay. Now, when you buy one, you're buying a bag of 100. Let's switch to the screen view so we can take a look at some supporting documentation. Okay, this is the item that we're looking at. Medeco tumbler pin F10-4T. Let's dissect that part number. Now, on the link to the manufacturer's page here is where you can pull up some supporting documentation. And the first one that we'll start at is the Medeco Technical Service Manual. And this document's quite old. Includes original and biaxial, but doesn't talk about Medeco 3 at all. So this is certainly an older document. And when we pull that document up, it'll load the Technical Service Manual. And this is available online. Page 14 is where they allow us to understand the nomenclature. So tumbler pin. The F in the part number is for the full step, meaning non-parity or 6-step system. There's 6 steps in their non-parity system, 30 thousandths of an inch increment. The 10 means it's a standard pin. Then we have the 4T, so it's going to be a number 4, T for top pin. Okay. Now, in the Medeco 2019 catalog, they show the TP F10-4T under the international cylinder section. And while this is not used exclusively with international cylinders, it must be, and I don't do a lot of work at all with Euro cylinders, especially Medeco Euro style cylinders, but it must be that those cylinders use only 4, 5, and 6 length top pins. Okay. Or 6, 5, and 4. And also in their 2019 book, they have on page 199 under pin kits, pins sold in bag of 100. So standard driver, tumbler pin, F10, XT, that's just going to be, the X is going to be your length. Okay. That's 43 cents each. List price, currently, when you're seeing this video, it could be 10 years in the future. So obviously, that's not the list price for a bag of 100. But when you have that technical manual pulled up, you can kind of understand how they put their part numbers together. Okay. The top pin length is, there's a chart somewhere in this catalog that shows the different top pins, but nonetheless, you're going to have these different top pins when it's in full step increment. This reference to B and C, I believe that those were pins that are no longer used at all. So you're going to have your driver pins 1 through 6, and these are the lengths. The asterisk tells us that it's drill resistant right here. Pins B and C were only used in locks prior to May of 1977. Oh, that's the year Star Wars came out, and the month, right? Month and year. So 1 through 6 is what's happening there. So those are your available pins. If you're doing a half increment or a parity system, there you go. You'd obviously change that part number as well to your H, from F to H. So it'd be an H10. Okay, I think that's really all there is to say about this material in terms of these top pins, etc., etc. Let's switch back to the camera view. So the name Medeco is synonymous with high security cylinders. They dominate the American market, not only for commercial, residential that you might, commercial primarily. I guess you could see Medeco cylinders in residential applications. They certainly make many cylinders for other folks' locks. Medeco can supply you with small format. Not that you would have sidebar technology on that, but they would supply you with key and knob lever, cylinders for Yale and Schlage, etc., mortise cylinders, rim cylinders. And you've got your original Medeco material, and I am the furthest thing from a Medeco expert, but having researched it a little bit, you have your original Medeco, and what was different about Medeco, what distinguishes Medeco is their 20-degree cuts, left, center, right, or from your perspective, left, center, right. Chisel point, very old Medeco, I understand, did not have a flat at the bottom. And what makes Medeco special in terms of at least American manufactured cylinders is that when the pin sits into the cut of the key, it actually doesn't rest on the tip, it rests on the sides, and the tip of the pin actually never touches the bottom of the cut of the key. So that makes them unique. The original system had those 3 skews. If Medeco uses the term skews, other manufacturers do. Then, of course, there was biaxial, and they basically changed that pin design, or it's called a chisel point, and they then created from 3 pins a total of 6 pins by taking that chisel point and moving it either aft or fore and aft is what they did. So that further evolved their product line. Medeco runs on a sidebar principle where when the key is inserted and the pins are moved to where they belong, they're arranged and aligned in such a way that the sidebar can rest or the pins create a space into which the sidebar can partially occupy, permitting the cylinder to turn. Medeco 3 has an additional advancement over that, incorporating a slider, etc., etc. What's really interesting about the concept of these multiple technologies, with pins being in different skews, sidebar, many pins, lengths, is that you can theoretically create millions upon millions of key changes, because of how it works. If you had in the Medeco original, if you have 3 different pins in every chamber, you have a left, center, and right pin possibility. And then you had 6 depths of those pins. Now you have 3 times 6 is 18 different potential pins in a 6-pin system. So what's 18 to the 6th power? It's 34 million. I just happen to know that. So the point is that you can have theoretically 34 plus million different key cut change possibility, and according to the Medeco manual, that actual number is about 20 million. But when you think of just a 6-pin 2-step system, and you can generate a theoretical 4,096 changes, and you have a university where you have 15 dorm buildings, okay, so your need for cylinders is in the tens of thousands, yeah, you need a system that can handle that, and Medeco can absolutely handle that. You know, like a walk in the park is the bottom line. Lots of resources there. We continue to update that page as we can. Obviously, I don't know, not obviously, but I don't know a lot about their different keyways. You know, that all that information is retained at the factory, and that's what people are buying into. Also, when they work with a Medeco system, that you don't have access to stuff. Okay, you can't. You know, reading the technical manual and their catalogs will give you a better idea of it. But the fact that a lot of the information, most information, is not made available, and the factory retains control of that, and also retains control over the key blanks. And that's really why Medeco is a system to work with, because if you can't get the key blank, you're done. There's nothing. You can have 100 of the Medeco 3 cylinders, but if you don't have any key blanks, there's nothing you can do. If you had that sort of scenario, you would be able to, you know, resurrect that cylinder, but you're going to have to go to someone who's authorized to pin that cylinder, who's authorized to work with those cut keys, etc. So if key control is what you need, Medeco would be the name. And 75% of the domestic market understands that relationship, according to what I've read. Any questions on the Medeco? This is their tumbler pin F10 4T or any other Medeco product. Please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.